Yeah, Moro, I was wondering about the depth of the defensive line. You guys just seem to have so many quality players there. Are you guys gonna each play like 30 snaps a game?
Right now, obviously, we do have a lot of depth. We have a lot of players that have experience, and going forward in the future, I mean, it's up to the coaches how they use us. It's really nice to have the depth and the experience that we have. So guys like me and Coburn can sit out, and there's no drop off. So I mean, we're just gonna try to listen to the coaches. The coaches ultimately make that decision.
Danny, go ahead.
Moro, even though you've been here for a few minutes, you're still pretty young. How much have you developed over these last 3 years, and where kind of are you? Where do you feel you're at in your development as a football player?
Yeah, I'm a little bit unique in that situation, appearing on the college scene a little bit earlier. So there's been patience on my side, right? I've developed a lot. I've got to play basically three different positions while I've been here: nose, tackle, and end. And that's helped me in everything that I've done. And then also with the new coach to kind of show me a guy from the pros, a guy that knows what he's talking about, a guy that can kind of impart on me knowledge and just show me how to get better. And I mean, I've developed tons. My strength coach has also helped me out. I came in pretty strong. McKnight helped me out, and then Becton has helped me out with balance and just a lot of hip mobility, a lot of power, so.
Cole, go ahead.
Moro, just want to get your thoughts on Alfred. How has he looked in the new defensive scheme, and what have you seen from him in the last couple of practices and his development?
Alfred reminds me a little bit of me. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife type guy that can play all positions on the defensive line because of his length and his power and his speed. And he's working. We're all working. It's fall camp. It's a challenging time, but it's a time for us to get better as players. And Alfred is getting better, and he's getting coached the hell off by the coaches that we have now.
Joe, you're up.
Moro, I know last year when Coach Ash came in, he brought in a new tackling system or a new way to teach tackling. Is it different or similar to how these coaches teach tackling? And how do you think that y'all have done in that area in this camp?
Tackling is the most important thing, I think, for me to work on my game, just outside. But I think it's basically similar. I think there's a new age tackling that's coming on where it's very head up, kind of. There's a lot of targeting going on in the game. There's a lot of safety precautions that are being taken in the game nowadays. And I believe that there's this sort of new wave of tackling being taught. So.
Chip, go ahead.
Hey, Moro, Chip Brown with Horns 24/7. A lot of people have talked about the light bulb going on for you and that it's clicking, the game is slowing down. When did that start to happen? What were the events that led up to it? Because everyone talked about you coming out of spring as a different player. You can just talk about that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I thank God. I've just had a lot of things click right. A new staff. My body has always been a three technique body, but due to maybe the lack of depth at the defensive line, we haven't necessarily put me in my position, right? I've been able to play end. I was at nose my redshirt freshman year, right? So just kind of we having more depth, right? And then taking advantage of a new coach, a new staff. And I kind of just found sort of a perfect situation for me, right? Three technique was a spot that was kind of open coming into this year, plugged me in. I mean, can't say enough about Davis, can't say enough about Becton, can't say enough about PK putting us in the right positions to just play football. And another thing has just been patience. And I thank God, just being able to be patient and understand that everything works for a reason, and I can see things from my defensive end days that are helping me, and also things from my nose guard days that are helping me.
Brian, go ahead.
Moro, I'm curious about your story, man. How your family came from Nigeria. I guess you landed in California.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. How did you go from that all the way to being in Texas and in Cade and now with the Horns?
I mean, so my dad is a missionary, and we moved from Nigeria to the US, spent some time in California, and I kind of just clicked in football. That was where I fit in. But I was always 2 years ahead of my grade because of the education system there, right? And so I started out playing Pee Wee football and played with guys my age, which I was significantly bigger than. But then when I moved to Texas a little bit, it was a little bit hard because now I was playing guys with 2 years ahead of me, right? So I didn't really start maybe separating myself from the crowd until my junior year in high school, right? And I mean, it's helped me. It's been cool, to be able to be as young as I am and compete on the level that I'm competing at. And I mean, I just thank God for coming to University of Texas. Great coaching staff, great platform, great education, great just all around people. There's no better place.
And do you still want to go to law school, either here or somewhere else, or what's your thoughts on that?
I haven't decided. I'm someone that does take education very seriously. What happens with football will dictate my secondary degree. One day I would love to get maybe like a JD MBA, which is a 4-year program. God willing.
Cool.
Bob, go ahead.
Hey, Moro, I'm just curious I know everybody plays a role at some point in being vocal or being that guy, but if you guys had that one moment where you needed to turn to somebody, who's the guy that y'all look to on defense to really kind of take control, whether it's in the locker room or in the huddle or whenever it is?
I would say one of my favorite things about this team is sort of, when you look at this team, it's a lot of guys that are about to step into a huge role this season. I will kind of say that it's funny. I think it kind of is inside out. So we kind of start D-line and linebackers and then secondaries, but I think we all build on each other. I think we all encourage ourselves. And I think that as opposed to maybe a hierarchy of where you have dad, mom, daughter, things like that, it's more of a brothers, right? And brotherly decision, brotherly courage, brotherly motivation, right? So
Roger, go ahead.
Hey, Moro, I'm just curious, this point in camp, where are you guys? Is it more mental or physical? You had the scrimmage, you'll have another big scrimmage, still a ways away from that opener, but we start to see polls come out and momentum building towards the season. Where are you guys in camp kind of mentally and physically right now?
This is the most pivotal point of camp, in my opinion. A lot of teams have a lot of energy and a lot of excitement to that first week of camp. Right now is the most important point of our season, right? We've got to excel mentally, but also physically. We've got to learn the plays. We've got to get better. We've got to understand how important the plays are and knowing to do our job, right? And then we've also got to understand taking care of ourselves physically and just getting mentally prepared to dominate this season, do as best as possible.
Cedric, you're up.
Hey, Moro. I know the alumni have been a big part of the mix for the last 2-3 years, showing up at practices and games, spring game. Are there any alumni that you go to for counsel to try to help you on this journey?
Alumni is probably one of the biggest reasons, or one of the most important things I necessarily didn't see when I was being recruited, right? But it's been extremely important, and the alumni base has just helped me so much. I frequently would reach out to kind of Charles and Joseph Osai and kind of talk to them about just pass rush and I guess bounce off ideas off of them. And then, I mean, Arakpo's been around. Sam Macho is also a really good one of just guys that are around encouraging and just trying to help. I remember Acho when he was around, just talking me through seeing the hands and explaining things to me.
Sam, go ahead.
More, you talked a little bit about the three technique and why that's a natural fit. Can you elaborate more on kind of how your responsibilities differ now as opposed to when you were an end or at the nose?
Okay, so when you look at, I'll say I kind of call it this like new age DT. The new age DT is generally a guy that's mobile and a guy that they're not necessarily too tall, but they're also strong, right? And so the edge, I would say I was a little too heavy, and the nose, I would say I was a little too light. So DTs are generally maybe like 290-ish, edge is like 260, right? Last year I was kind of on that 280. I've gained some more weight now and I'm leaning towards 290. And so there was a difference. There's a lot more space between when you make contact with the offensive tackle. There was a lot more that I had to worry about, like mentally, about knowing things assignment wise. But being in the three technique, I see him and I hit him right away, right? I can work a lot of stunts. If you go back and you look at last year, towards the end of the year, I started figuring it out a little bit at end. And a lot of those plays came from maybe I was a 4, or I was doing some stunt. Those were kind of the plays that I kind of figured out, right? It feels so much more comfortable.
Got time for a couple last ones. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Moro, I just wanted to ask you, there's a big change that has happened. Obviously, you were talking about Chris Ash and the way that he was teaching the tackling and philosophies, and now PK is here. What has been the biggest contrast and upgrade from what you saw last year?
I would say what I like more, when I think about systems, I don't necessarily pros and cons. I mean, I don't rank. I look at pros and cons, right? For PK, he's an excellent play caller. And I like how we're able to still run some 3 down, run some 4 downs, run stunts. I really, really enjoy his play calling. I really, really like his play calling. He's brilliant.
Last one, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, Moro, just wanted to ask about your relationship with Keandre. You two came in together. You've kind of been through the fire together the last 4 years. Just curious, what's your relationship like with him, and what's it like in the locker room, on the field? It kind of seems like he's a huge personality.
Yeah. He is huge. I mean, he's a funny guy. He's a cool guy. He's a great guy to be around, and I think that it's been super cool how we've kind of grown together, and now we're playing side by side each other. And I also think that we just fit each other really well. He's a kind of goofy, nice, and I'm kind of maybe a little bit more stern and kind of focused in, and we just balance out really well. And I'm just so excited this year to play alongside him and kind of become like a 1-2 combo to the Big 12.
Cade, I'm wondering in the tight end room, do y'all feel like you have anything to prove as you come into the season as far as just the position itself is concerned?
Yeah, I think we have a lot to prove still. It's a young room. We got 3 freshmen coming in here. One just got here in JT, but I think we have a lot to prove still, especially in the pass game where we haven't really been there that much in the past years. But we always have something to prove, whether it's in pass game, the blocking game, special teams. There's always something to prove.
Chip, go ahead.
Cade, are the tight ends more of a check down in this offense than maybe they've been in the past? What would you say the roles are?
I mean, we're obviously in some situations and some plays where check downs, but there's a lot of shots too. We just got to get in the perfect situation, and there's a lot of shot plays that will be coming this year. We're not just a check down. Obviously, we're going to be the check down in some plays, but there's going to be some plays in there this season where we'll find some voids and find some areas where we'll make some big plays down the field.
Sam, go ahead.
Hey, Cade, now that you've had 8 months to kind of familiarize yourself with this offense, I'm curious, what are the biggest impressions and takeaways that you have of the importance of tight end in this offense?
Very important. We do everything, honestly. Coach Banks said it the other day. It's probably the toughest position to play on this team, especially the offense. We're the do-it-all guy on offense. We're blocking. We got to be an O lineman at some times. Got to be a receiver. We got to know all the route concepts. We got to know all the run concepts. It's a lot. It's a lot on our plates, but we got the guys to do it. All of us in the room are very smart and capable of doing it, and we've had a great camp so far. So I'm looking forward to the season.
Bob, go ahead.
Cade, it's obviously tough for any freshman to come in and make a major impact immediately. What have you seen from Jatavion? And just, I mean, he looks like a load out there, obviously, but to be, you know, as young as he is, what's the difficult process of trying to work your way in, and how do you think he's progressing so far?
Davion's done well. You know, obviously coming in here during the summer and not getting that spring ball development, you're a little behind on the learning curve, but he's come in, he's grasped the offense very well, I think. Obviously he's gotten those struggles, the freshman struggles that freshmen are always going to have, but he's getting better every day. And this is a big week for him, not only him, but all of us. But JT, he's done a really good job this far.
Kirk, go ahead.
Yeah, Cade, Coach Sarkisian was sounded like he was a little disappointed in the offense during Saturday's scrimmage. He kind of said there was a lot of missed opportunities and the quarterbacks weren't really playing at a standard he thought was acceptable. Was he pretty upset with the offense to y'all in private, and how far are y'all away from being ready for that first game?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get out to a great start initially. Had a couple turnovers in the first couple drives, but yeah, obviously I wasn't happy about that, but it's all about bouncing back. And that was the big thing he preached this morning was obviously he was criticizing us, but got to bounce back from it and get back to work this week and fix those mistakes, and hopefully come out next Saturday and have a better day out there offensively.
Roger, go ahead.
Hey, Cade, 5th training camp for you, and you played all 4 of those years, taking advantage of that 5th-year opportunity. Does a new staff force you to kind of stay more engaged because you've done this so many times, and also do you kind of savor it more, knowing that this was your choice to come back for one more year?
Yeah, obviously I have an important role on this team, being a 5th-year guy that's played a lot. They want me to be that vocal leader on the field, and when things aren't going well, get it back going again. But it's been awesome. I'm very glad I came back, and this coaching staff's been unbelievable. Very hard on us, but also great guys, and they're really looking forward to the season for sure.
Nick, you're up.
Yeah, Cade, just wanted to ask about your decision to come back for this 5th season. How seriously did you consider, entering the draft? Did you consider maybe transferring somewhere else? And honestly, when it came down to it, what was it that pulled you back to Texas for this 5th year?
I think I had a lot to prove to people. I didn't think I was quite ready to come out and go to the draft. I think one more year of development and ultimately winning a championship as well. That was really the main reason. But here I am, ready to roll this season, and just ready to get this thing going. I can't wait.
Got time for 3 last ones. Cole, go ahead.
Okay, just want to get your thoughts on the offensive line. What have you seen from them, especially the newer guys? And what does it mean to get a guy like Derek back playing at hopefully full capacity when the season starts?
Offensive line's been great. They've been really very physical, making a lot of good calls, being sharp. Derek, I'm so glad he's back. Obviously, me and Derek came in together really close with him. So glad he's back, and he's a great addition to us. We need that leadership as well on the offensive side of the ball. So it's very pleasing that he's back. Derek.
Cedric, go ahead.
Yeah, Cade, I just want to get your thoughts on, did you catch Sam Ellinger the other night in his first NFL action and your thoughts on him starting this coming week against Minnesota.
I did. I watched it yesterday. It was great seeing him out there. It's weird seeing him in an NFL uniform. It kind of freaked me out a little bit, but he did great. Watched the whole thing. He's making plays like usual, like he always does. But that's news to me. I didn't know he was starting against Minnesota. That's great. That's awesome. And can't wait to see how he does. And I know he's going to do great.
Two last ones. Danny, you're up.
Cade, is there one thing that you can point to that this tight end room does really well, or is it one of those things where the best thing you do is different than the best thing Jared does, and which is different than the best thing that Jatavian does?
Yeah, I think you do a great job making plays in the pass game. I think we've done a pretty good job in that during camp. Being that security blanket for the quarterback. In the running game, I think we've done pretty well. I think we've covered up guys. Haven't had really many, busts in the run game or in the pass game, so that's good. But I thought tight end room's done great so far, and this is a big week for us to improve and get ready for this upcoming scrimmage and the game coming up.